You're taking the IELTS or the TOEFL, so you must improve your reading, listening, writing, and speaking skills, both for informal and academic English. I have the easiest, fastest, and free way to do it. We read magazines together to improve your vocabulary, tell you what vocabulary not to learn, and what words to use instead. For speaking, I use the imitation method, so you can learn my accent, the American accent, and improve your pronunciation, so you are understood always by any English speaker in any part of the world. For reading, you will read with me, once slowly as we review vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation, and once quickly at a native speed, so you hear and are prepared for what English really sounds like. For writing, we will talk about how the articles are written and organized, so you can use advanced writing styles in all of your essays. In the second part of this video, we are going to start with our first 2 articles, so you can improve your IELTS or TOEFL score right now. Your informal, conversational English and work English too at the same time, so you can talk about any topic with any person. Are you ready to master the IELTS or TOEFL? Yeah? Then subscribe. Subscribe right now and tell me more about you. Me? I'm Callan, and I'm gonna help you master the test and the English language. If you can, help me by clicking like on this video. Let's start with our first 2 articles. Okay, so we're going to look at parts of 2 articles. One about psychology, more formal academic English, and one about news, more informal everyday English. Remember, for the IELTS or TOEFL, you need both of those types of language, formal and informal. To make it easier to read with me, click down here, the 3 dots, and then open transcript. That way, you can read the article much more easily with me at the same time. So let's start with National Geographic, New Insights into Addiction. This is really about psychology. Every 25 minutes in the United States, a baby is born addicted to opioids. This heartbreaking statistic is but one symptom of an epidemic that shows no sign of abating. The 33,000 overdose deaths from opioids in 2015 were a 16% rise over the previous year, which also set a record. Drug overdoses are now a leading cause of death among Americans under 50, but only part of a broader addiction landscape that ranges from drug and alcohol abuse to obsessive eating, gambling, and even sex. For this month's cover story, The Addiction Brain, we went in search of the why. Why do human beings get addicted to substances and behaviors we know will harm us? What can new research tell us about addiction and the brain? Most important, can what we're learning help more people recover? What we will do is review vocabulary, grammar, and punctuation every couple paragraphs. Let's review what we've seen so far. Remember, it's always to be addicted to something. Here we are talking about opioids or heroin, a very addictive drug. And the author, Susan Goldberg, says that this is heartbreaking. If something is heartbreaking, it means very sad. It makes you very emotional. It literally breaks your heart. An epidemic is a very contagious disease that is spreading. It's an outbreak or a plague. The use of heroin in the United States right now is becoming an epidemic. It's spreading and it cannot be controlled. Another way of saying that something cannot be controlled is by saying that it cannot be abated. Let's continue. Not long ago, the idea of repairing the brain's wiring to fight addiction would have seemed far-fetched, as writer Fran Smith reports in our story. But advances in neuroscience have upended conventional notions about addiction, what it is, what can trigger it, and why quitting is so tough. The very nature of addiction is being rethought. In 2016, when he was U.S. Surgeon General, Vivek Murthy, who's interviewed in this issue, affirmed what scientists had contended for years. As Smith says, addiction is a disease, not a moral failing. It's characterized not necessarily by dependence or withdrawal, but by the compulsive repetition of an activity despite life-damaging consequences. So we're getting deeper into the topic of what causes addiction. Let's review some of this really good vocabulary. The brain's wiring. The wiring of something means how something is constructed, made or works. So they are examining the brain's wiring, or how the brain works. And years ago, they say, this would have seemed far-fetched. To be far-fetched means unlikely, implausible, probably not true or accepted. Remember, in the regular videos, we will review the entire article, more focus on some of the grammar and writing style, and I will read it one more time at the end at a native speed. And we still have to do the informal article, so let's look at that. For the informal article, here, we are actually reading an interview. An interview is great because we see how you ask questions, respond to questions, and what vocabulary we use in everyday conversations. This interview is with a very famous YouTuber, Casey Neistat. He sold a video app to CNN, a very famous American news channel. In this article, he's explaining why he created this app and some other information. So let's take a look at this interview. Why did CNN spend so much money on your company? They have tremendous technology, but all that technology does is further disseminate their media, written, print, photography, and video. Their app is another way you can consume that. They're not how we're approaching the marriage between technology and media. And the best example I can give you right now is an app we've made called Panels, where Fox News or CNN or MSNBC would want to take the topic with a diverse number of opinions and perspectives around it. They would throw it to a group of older, typically men, wearing suits who sort of pontificate around the point. Casey's using some really good vocabulary. Let's see what he said. Talking about CNN, he says they have great technology, but all they do with that technology is disseminate information. To disseminate means to spread and to give, but a lot. So they are disseminating a lot of information. And Casey's saying that you get all of this information, but their app is just to consume it. When we talk about consuming media, news, videos, we talk about watching, listening, or reading things. The people who talk about the news are usually older men wearing suits, and they pontificate. To pontificate is to lecture, to preach, to rant, to talk on, to think you know everything, and to tell other people what to do or how to think. It's usually negative to pontificate. We can't read the whole article because we don't have the time in this video, but in the future we will read the articles, discuss more vocabulary, the style of the writing so you can improve your writing, pronunciation, and everything else, as well as reading it one more time at a native speed to really improve your listening. If this video helped you, help me and give me those likes because they really help the channel grow. And if you haven't already, subscribe and click this bell so you know when all of the newest videos are available. And tell me what you thought about the articles. Put your thoughts and any questions that you have in the comments. It's been a lot of fun. I will see you soon. Ciao for now. Adios.